Hello dear students. So I hope that you all are well and you are enjoying the lectures and you are studying the materials which we are providing to you, seeing the videos and noting down the important points in a timely manner. Okay. So because your this year is very important, you are in class 12, you will be appearing for the competitive examinations which will shape your future. So your this session, this almost 1 year time is very crucial and very important. So you must make use of it very nicely, and whatever lectures we are uploading, listen the lectures sincerely. Okay, just don't do a time pass. You first make up your mind that now you want to receive the information. Your antenna are in a very good receptive mood. Then you open your notebook, take your pen and listen the lecture, note down the important points, try to understand everything, okay? And don't waste any of your single second. Okay? Because if you think that once you revert back to your physical classroom in the classroom and then you will understand everything suddenly, it is not a very practical approach. Okay? So that's why I urge you that make best use of the time which you are having. You are with your family and your family is taking care of all your requirements. So utilize that time, enjoy, have nice foods, but also don't waste your time. Utilize every single moment and study hard. These chapters which we are discussing, like this is sexual reproduction in plant, the second chapter. We have seen many important topics which are important not only for the board exam but also very important for your competitive exams as well. So keep learning and keep yourself motivated because you are not here in front of us. We cannot pinpoint one by one and you cannot ask that okay you tell me this, you tell me that, or whether you have completed your work, whether you have made your notes or not. But you are mature people, you understand the importance of it, you know that these things which you are studying are going to make your life, they are going to set the direction of your future, that what you may become in the coming years. So utilize your time and focus on the important subjects and important concepts. Learn every bit and piece of it. If you have any doubt, ask me on the WhatsApp. Okay, and don't think that once you get back the classes, then you will understand everything in a short span of time. Okay, utilize everything. So now let us come to the topic. We were discussing about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants. We already have seen how pollen are formed, what is the process of microsporogenesis, what is the structure of the pollen, okay, vegetative cells, generative cells, we already have seen all those details. We also had seen about the female part of the flower which is called as carpel or pistil. Then we had seen the detailed structure of the carpel, okay, stigma, style and ovary and the ovule and then detailed structure of the ovule. I hope you have not forgotten all of those. If you think that you have forgotten or if you are having any doubt, just revise it because a regular revision is very necessary. If you don't do regular revision, your efforts will go wasted because the thing which you have studied hard, which you have learned by heart, you have remembered it with by giving enough time and your hard work. But if you don't do a revision which hardly takes even 1/4 time as compared to when you are doing the first reading or trying to understand it, then your these 10 minutes or 15 minutes revision actually helps you a lot, and it reinforces the things in your mind, and it gets uh, written down in your mind, and it gets memorized completely. So that is a must. You should not forget. Okay. So you already had seen the structure, how the female uh, gametes are formed, and then female gametophyte arises when a 7-cell retronuclear stage is formed, which we call as embryophyte or female gametophyte. All these things we had seen. Then we had seen that the process of transfer of the pollen grain from the anther to the stigma, so that the male gamete can finally reach to the female gamete. So this process of transfer is called as pollination. It is brought about by the biotic factors and biotic factors, where we have seen the details of those things, right? So now, after having seen all those things, there are certain concepts, certain things which you must understand. So now today we will discuss those. Okay. So here the title of today's lecture is pollen pistil interaction. So what is the meaning of pollen pistil interaction? Okay. So this is what I am going to explain you today. And this is a very simple topic, very simple lecture, but here some concepts are involved. And if you have understood the things properly in the last lecture, this topic hardly takes any time for you to understand. And even at the time of revision, it is just a 2 or 5 job for the revision. So now let us come to the pollen pistil. As we already have seen, that when pollination happens, here I have drawn a rough schematic figure of a bisexual flower. Okay. So what is there in the bisexual flower? There is a thalamus or a septum on which there is a stem with a stalk or filament and anther. This forms the endosperm. Then you have the female portion or the carpel artistic, which has the stigma, and then the stem, and finally you have the stem. So this is the definition for that. Okay. Then you have the corolla or petals. Then outside this, you will have the sepals or the calyx, right? And this will be a type of petals, right? So what is the important article? The male gamete, which after maturation we call it as pollen. So pollen is present over here in the anther. Okay. And then this is the stigma. Inside the ovule, you have the ovule. Inside the ovule, you will be having the female gamete. Okay. Here I have drawn the structure of the female gamete. So when the natural process happens, what actually what process operates over there is the pollen grain has matured, and this anther dehisces, that means there is shedding of the pollen grain, and then it is dispersed by different means, by techniques or by techniques, and finally it is the stigma. Okay. In case of the autogamous or self-fertilization, it may come from the same flower, or it may come from the different flower or the same plant, or it may come from the different flower. Okay. So this is what we have seen autogamous and seed. Now, because we have seen that the autogamy or self-pollination is not a very good thing. It leads to inbreeding depression, and that is why there are outbreeding devices, which we discussed in the last lecture. Right? in addition to that, if you try to imagine that you have this kind of a situation, you have an open flower which is having the anther and which is having the stigma open. So, if here the transfer takes place by any of the biosimilar characteristics, because many of the times it is a random chance. If it is by the butterfly may not be having only a single kind of the pollen. Or in other words, it may have the pollen grain from a different species, from different varieties. It may not be having the pollen grain only from a single variety. Okay? So, for example, if the pollen grain of the mango is carried to the stigma of the, just I am throwing a random example. If the pollen grain of mango is brought to the stigma of the papaya, or if one species, if species A and there is species B, if pollen grain from species A is taken to the stigma of the species B, or if in the same, even in the same species, you have different varieties. So if from one variety you are taking the pollen grain to another variety, what will happen? If you are doing the pollination between different species, it will lead to the cross species hybridization. If you are transferring the pollen between the same species but different varieties, it will lead to the hybrid formation of that species. Okay, so this hybridization actually may or may not be desired, and definitely one species would not like to receive the pollen from another species. But how this stigma will know that this pollen which is received now is not suitable for it? So that is what we will study in the pollen testing. So if I draw an elongated structure, suppose this is the stigma. Okay. Suppose this is a stigma, and now here one pollen grain is landed, and this pollen grain now belongs to different species or different varieties. Is it desirable or is it useful if the plant receives this pollen and this pollen starts germination and the male gamete reaches to the female gamete, and finally a male gamete of a different species or of a different variety tries to fuse or fertilize the female gamete of a different variety? That is not what is desired, right? Sometimes you desire it when you want to create the hybrids, but in the natural system, what happens that two different species usually don't want to reproduce together. That means the different species are reproductively isolated from each other. The species are reproductively isolated from each other, and they do not do the cross hybridization between different species. That is not possible. Okay, so how the plant will prevent this process? How the plant will prevent this process from taking place? So for that, what happens? That first of all, there has to be recognition. Okay? So the first point is from the recognition. So when the pollen lands on a stigma, there has to be recognition of the pollen by the stigma. And once this recognition takes place, what happens? That this stigma now has to recognize whether this is the correct pollen, whether this pollen can be used for the fertilization or not, whether it is from the same species or from the different species. Okay? So here the recognition is taken. And how this recognition will happen? How this will take place? This recognition will take place with the help of the chemical component. So there will be certain chemicals in the pollen and there will be certain chemicals in the stigma. And these chemicals actually will interact with each other. So there will be chemosensitivity and there will be chemoreception. So because of this interaction between the different chemicals, there will be recognition, and only when the plant recognizes that it is uh, from the correct species, this chemical recognition will actually help to decide whether now it has to go to the second step, which is acceptance or rejection. Okay. So whether it has to accept or it has to reject this pollen. If after the recognition it is found that this is a suitable pollen, then there will be acceptance. And after acceptance, what will happen? There will be pollen germination. Right? So if this is the pollen, so in the pollen you will have X sign on the outside, then you will have the germaphoid on the X sign, and you will have the inside on the outside. So this pollen will have vegetative cell and generative cell, and we have seen the microscopic. So this will start germinating through one of the germphoids, and this is what is pollen germination. This pollen germination is the acceptance of the pollen grain after the recognition process. Okay, so this pollen germination will start and then will be followed by pollen will grow. Right? So what is pollen tube growth? After the germination, this will start elongating and this tube will start growing. Okay, so this is growing towards this direction. Okay, so once it is like that, this tube will start growing, and it will start growing and sitting down and finally grow through the tissues in the carpet. So first it will grow through the stigma, then it will grow through the style, finally it will reach to the ovary. And in the ovary, it has now to reach to the ovule. So this pollen tube grows and reaches the ovule. So these processes can be controlled at the pollen germination level and the okay, if the pollen is not recognized properly, if it is rejected, pollen germination may not take place at all. If sometimes, even if the pollen germination takes place and there has been negative recognition, that means it has been selected for the rejection, even if the pollen has germinated, it will not allow the pollen growth to take place. Okay, even if it will grow, it will grow to a certain point and then it will stop, will get eliminated. So the pollen will not reach toward finally to the ovule or to the female male. Okay. So all these processes are included in the pollen pistil device. So once the pollen has been recognized and it has been accepted, the pollen tube will start growing. We already had seen in the chapter that in a mature pollen there are two kinds of cells: vegetative cell, which is large and having a very dense cytoplasm and providing nutrition to the second cell, which is called a generative cell. Okay? So some pollen grains are two cell stage. some pollen grains become mature and shed at the two-stage stage, while some pollen grains mature and are shed at the three-cell stage. Okay. So in the three-cell stage, the generative cell divides and it becomes two cells. Okay. So in the three-cell stage, we will have this kind of arrangement. This is the vegetative cell, and the generative cells are divided. Okay. So this is the two-cell stage. This is the three-cell stage of the pollen. So whenever there is acceptance, whenever there is recognition, the pollen will start growing. If the pollen grain is of this type, that is of two-cell stage type, through the pollen grain, when there is pollen will grow, this generative cell will move, and while this pollen tube growth is taking place, this mitosis will happen, and the generative cell will divide into two, and it will be converted into the three-cell stage. Okay. So during the pollen tube growth in the carpel after the pollination, the two-cell stage pollen is converted into the three-cell stage pollen by the mitosis of the generative cell. Is it clear? And those pollen grains where the pollen grain is shed or dehisced from the anther at the three-cell stage, that means if the pollen grain is released from the anther at maturation, and the anther at that time, rather the pollen grain at that time contains the three-cell stage pollen grain, then these two nuclei together will move during the pollen growth. Okay. So these two nuclei of the generative cell will move. These are the male nuclei, and they will move along with the pollen. Okay. They will keep moving and they will keep coming down. Finally, this pollen tube growth will take place starting from the stigma through the style, and finally it will reach the ovary, and it will enter the ovule through the micropylar gland. You already know what is micropylar gland and what is micropyle. This is important. You should know what is micropylar gland or micropyle. Those of you who don't know, I will ask you to revise. Okay. So once it reaches the micropylar gland, here at the micropylar gland, in the female gametophyte, you will have two synergies. Okay. And they are still what is micropylar gland will be prepared and modified to facilitate the pollen growth and to guide the growth of the pollen tube. So this is the typical structure of the female gametophyte, where the micropylar gland you have one egg cell, okay, which is actually the female gamete, which has to do the fertilization, and there will be two synergies. Okay, so these two synergies, when pollen reaches these synergies, one of the synergies will actually receive the pollen and it will guide the growth of the pollen towards the okay. And finally, the male gamete will go through and reach towards the nucleus of this, and it will help in the fertilization, which we will be discussing in the next lecture in the event of the double fertilization. Okay. So in this way, actually, the male gamete, which has landed over the stigma, finally reaches to the egg or the female gamete. Okay. And this process, starting from the recognition to the acceptance or rejection, and then pollen germination, and then pollen tube growth, all this process is included in the pollen pistil inhalation. Okay. And plants have evolved different kinds of the regulatory mechanisms to not allow the cross species fertilization. But many times what happens, that a plant breeder or, or a person who wants to improve the variety of the plant wants to combine two properties or the desired characteristics from two different varieties into a single plant. Okay, that's why that means many times you want to combine the desirable properties from two different species or two different varieties. Okay, so many times people want this, and for this, what you need to do is that you need to do artificial hybridization. So what you do during the artificial hybridization? You have to protect the stigma from receiving the wrong or the undesired pollen grain. That means the stigma should receive only the pollen grain which you want to provide. So you have to provide some mechanism to conduct the artificial hybridization. If you want to perform the artificial hybridization, what you should do? You should regulate it manually. So how it is done? There is a process for that. Most of the flowers are bisexual flowers. So in the bisexual flowers, we will have the bisexual flowers, you will have the stamen and you will have the carpel. But you want this stigma to receive the pollen grain of your choice, of the desirable character. And you don't want this particular pollen, this particular anther to release the pollen grain and to fertilize it or to pollinate this stigma. So what you need to do is that you need to cut this anther. So this is called as emasculation. So you need to do emasculation so that even before the anther reaches the maturity, you cut the anther out and so that the stigma cannot be fertilized, it cannot receive the mature anther, mature pollen grain from the anther. So you have to do emasculation. This is done for the bisexual flower. If it is a monosexual or unisexual flower, then emasculation is not needed. Then, once you have removed the anther, and suppose the stigma becomes mature and it becomes receptive. Now, if you don't protect this stigma, randomly some butterfly or some air currents may bring upon some pollen grain and it can land over it and it can do the random pollination. So to avoid that, what we need to do is that we need to cover this after cutting the anther. So this process is called as bagging. So bagging is nothing but it is covering the female portion of the flower by some proper cover. Usually it is made of the butter paper or some polymer, okay, which does not allow any transfer of the pollen grain. So once you have covered it, now you have protected it. This stigma cannot receive any pollen grain from outside. But once the pollen grain matures, once the stigma matures, then you must provide the pollen grain of the desirable type at that right time. Otherwise, there will be no pollination or no fertilization. So, to generate the desired fertilization, the desired hybrid, what we have to do next is that once there is maturation of the stigma, you have to do dusting of desired pollen. Okay. Dusting, and immediately after the dusting, we should again cover it so that no other pollen can come and it can contaminate. To avoid the contamination, you have to do repair. So you again have to cover it with the bed. So you do dusting and rebagging. So these three-step process: emasculation, bagging, and dusting and rebagging is a common procedure. It is generally done for achieving the artificial hybridization. Okay, whether if you want to achieve the hybrids of different species, that means cross species hybrids, or if you want to achieve the hybrids of different varieties of the same species, that means cross variety hybrids. Okay, so you need to do this emasculation, bagging, and dusting to finally achieve the artificial hybridization. And many varieties are actually obtained by this process, and which combines the useful characters. The yield is increased or nutrition quality is increased. More detail about these processes and how it is done and how it has been used for the human welfare across the world, and how it has been used in Indian context to generate so many very good varieties with high yield or with good nutritive value. All those things we will be studying in your coming chapter in the biotechnology, uh, where there is a dedicated chapter for the strategies for enhancement of the food. I think there is another dedicated chapter where we will be studying this in the detail. So now, in the context of the plant reproduction, we have seen that how this is the controlled reproduction brought about by the people for improving the productivity of the cereals and crops, and this all is based on the pollen pistil interaction. Pollen pistil interaction makes the naturally pollinating species to help them to avoid the self crossing or to avoid the fertilization by undesired plants or undesired gametes. So here this pollen pistil interaction actually helps to select the male gamete and female gamete, that from which species or from which variety or from which flower they are coming, and whether they should be allowed to feed and fertilize or not. Okay, so this is the purpose of the pollen pistil interaction, and it covers this process right from the landing of the pollen grain onto the stigma and till the last stage where the pollen grows and reaches, guided by the synergies towards till that end. Okay, so all this comes under the pollen pistil interaction. This interaction is mediated by many chemical components, and it has been modified, it has been manually controlled for doing the artificial hybridization, that you regulate which pollen should go and bind or should be nested on the stigma and which one should not. So now we will stop over here. In the next lecture we will discuss the double fertilization again, okay, which is again a very important topic from the board as well as from the NEET point of view. The double fertilization event is repeatedly asked in the board examination. Okay, so now we will stop over here. So keep noting the important points and get back to me if you have any.